Well, over the years, I've done quite a few videos actually about nursery, home nursery, nursery production, exotic tree nurseries, and so on. Um, that stands to reason since nursery has been a major business of mine for quite a while. There's a lot of things that I do, but nursery has probably worked better for me than almost any of the others. Um, Anyway, a lot of those videos have kind of gotten behind us at this point, and as things go backlog, folks have trouble finding them. And I had some requests to do discussion about nursery, and maybe even let's talk about nursery here on the Big Island in Hawaii. Um, Beginning, I have never been anywhere, hands down, where the climate was better for the production of a wide variety of nursery stock than the eastern part of the Big Island of Hawaii. I mean, this is... If there is a better place on earth, it is definitely the Garden of Eden, because almost anything, with a few exceptions, raises so easily here that anybody literally can become green thumb if you got a little bit of smarts in this environment. I was actually worried when I moved here. Okay, I knew that there were, 150,000 guitar pickers in Puna, and so that other than the fact that I'm a blues guitarist, maybe distinguishes me a little bit from the local slacky guys, but, I'm just another guy with 6 strings in my hands. I was worried the same about nursery and horticulture because, man, there are so many brilliant people here when it comes to growing plants. I mean, every garage sale is full of the orchids Grandma propagated and so on. There is no shortage of horticultural experts in Hawaii. When it comes to positioning nursery, bottom line rule, you want to make money in a nursery operation, one of the things is you're going to be positioned where there is high population growth. Well, that's Puna. 40% increase since the year 2000 here. Median age, 35 years old, so people settling in this area have quite a bit of energy left, probably a lot more than I do. And so there's people working really hard on a lot of this land, and planting out food forests is a big deal. But also putting in ornamentals like hibiscus and such, also big deal. You want flowers around the house. It's good for the mind. Anyhow, I have a good background, so this is a great place. The climate, though, outrageous for it. I mean, it's raining today. Thank goodness it's raining today. It hasn't rained worth a darn for almost a month over here, and that is really rare. Ordinarily, I get enough rain every day to support the nursery stock I have in the field without having to irrigate it. It's a balancing act between, well, do I really like it when it's blue, sunny, and beautiful all the time, or do I like it when it's raining and my plants grow? Yeah, it's a trade-off. Take your pick. So, this is an excellent location for nursery. There are a lot of people who are in need of what it is that I produce. The other thing I can tell folks who are interested in going into nursery is find the niche. The niche is all important. There are lots and lots and lots of huge growers in the United States, largest on the planet, Monrovia, for instance, and they have operations across the U.S. You really can't compete with Monrovia at their level. For small operators, the thing to do is to find a corner of the marketplace, focus in it, and usually it will be a corner that is underutilized, underfilled. Back, say 20 years ago, when water gardening was an up-and-coming thing in the mainland, I know several people who made millionaires out of themselves on less than 2 acres by going into production of water plants. That's a niche thing. Big guys don't deal with that little kind of stuff. Boy, they made a lot of money on water lilies. is, herb growing, for instance, is a niche that a lot of smaller nurseries will go into, and they'll produce a wide variety of herbs, from culinary to aromatic to medicinal and so on. So herb growing is another niche. Me, I tend to focus on exotic fruit, and my niche is I like to be the only guy in a location who can provide you with a certain type of plant. And so if you're looking for that plant, and I'm the only one that's got it, I got the market drilled up, see. And so perhaps maybe there's only 50 people here on the Big Island that needed the crop that I had produced. But it's probably plenty enough for me to be able to sell that crop out clean and move on and continuously produce something else and something else and something else, because when it comes to nursery, impulse is a big thing. I may post a plant on Craigslist, for instance, that I think will be attractive to a certain target market. And so I'll put it out there, usually at a pretty good price, nice pictures, blah, blah, blah. I start to get calls for these plants. Well, the people will come down with a certain specific issue in mind. But my selection here is very eclectic, and we have all sorts of different things, and a lot of things you probably have never thought about or never heard of, and so on. And so I usually, on a sale that might have amounted to, 3 pots at $3 a piece, sometimes a $9 sale turns into $109 once people start shopping the tables. And so impulse is a big part of nursery when it comes to trying to sell something. And impulse not only has to do with scarcity, interest, uniqueness, appearance is a big one. Since I specialize in smaller size plants, I do have people who come in here wishing they were going to see everything in a 5 and a 15-gallon bucket who will be put off, and they will usually walk away. That's the way it goes. I don't do big plants. That's not my business. My back doesn't like pulling around big plants. I don't like watering big plants. Big plants take a lot of fertilizer and blah, blah, blah. And I would much rather sell 10 $3 plants than one $30 plant. It's actually easier, especially when the impulse is good. And so if your stuff looks right, it matches the market, if it doesn't have a lot of bug bites in it, it's well fertilized, it looks healthy and thriving, you're going to find people impulsing towards it. So for me, the $3 plant is one of the ways I draw people in. It's not the only size I sell. I do have 1-gallon pots and a few other things around here. And I sell things that way, but I sell a whole lot more of quite a selection of stuff in 3.5-inch pots. The 3.5-inch pot was perfect for me because this same flat will also fit the 6-pack, which I use a lot of. Right over here, you will see I'm using 6-packs in the same flat. The 6-packs, when I'm starting seeds, help me kind of concentrate everything so it's tight together and I don't take up a lot of space. As they begin to grow out, then I will move same plants upwards into this 3.5-inch pot. That pot also fits in same flats, and so we're duplicating things here. Eventually, if it stays around long enough, it will shift upwards to this 1-gallon container over here, and so I do sell 1-gallon container plants. But the 3.5-inch pot plant is the one that actually sells most. Here we have jaboticabas in that container. There's star fruit, mammy sapote seed coming up right there. This is gramachama. There's ornamental kales. Over here we have papayas, giant lilycoy, purple sweet potatoes, strawberries, chico sapote, ice cream bean trees. We've got the lilycoy over here. Desert King dragon fruits, rambutan. These are coffee trees here, and patchouli down below. Over here in gallon containers, I got plumeria, dragon fruit, white pineapples. This is Ava is Mame sapote, Abius, Psychotria viridis, Cacao, Dwarf Catera coffee, Dragon Eyes, Orange Dragon Fruits, Yahi vines for ayahuasca, on and on and on. So many different things here. Back over here on the north side of the house where it's shadier, we're raising flats of orchids and bromeliads and angel trumpets and all sorts of ornamentals over here. Plus the potted anthuriums back there under the lime tree. When you're doing nursery, and if it's, relatively small scale home like I've got going here, using the plants in your landscape to adjust the light can work really well. We raise the anthuriums down deep in the shade underneath the lime. Further out at the edges of the citrus shade, we've got other ornamentals that like some shade but not as much as the anthuriums. The orchids are out here where it's a little brighter and so on. And so you can actually use your landscape trees to control the amount of light that your nursery stock gets. Everything out here is in full light. It's not sunny today, it's a cloudy day, but these guys all get by pretty good with full sunlight. I utilize the undersides of my benches over here for cuttings that don't like too much sun. That helps a lot. I'm also back there in the shadows along the edge striking cuttings. And so in this location here, bananas and giant lilycoy vines are what's creating the shade for the nursery stock back there. So when it comes to talking about nursery, I can go on for days and days, and I'm just not gonna. We'll leave it at that. Hopefully this little segment you managed to glean something out of it that maybe you hadn't thought of. There's a little bit too much to say about it to put in a little video. There's just so much, but I think that covered a few of the high points, showed you a little bit of what's going on here, and I hope that it was stimulating for you. Aloha, happy gardening, plant a nursery in your backyard.